this up a little bit, look at the clock up there adjusting the size. So if I move it up there, it'll make the clock smaller. And if I make this larger, you can see it will just adjust to the perfect size. So you can have the pet and the time in the same frame, and it will kind of do it for you. So that's pretty cool. If we go ahead and add this, you also have a spatial preview. So if you tap this button right here so that it doesn't have a cross through it, just like that, take a look at this. When you move your device, it moves that subject and it looks like it's real. It's like a spatial photo. So if I go ahead and tap on done, take a look at that. So it's not the best photo for it, but you can see how it's kind of moving and it looks like it's alive. It looks like it's like popping out of my screen based on how you move your phone. It's very Vision OS like, very Vision Pro like, and it's quite impressive. Now we also have some pretty big changes in the Messages application. So first off, you can see the UI when you first go into the app is a little bit different. So up top it shows that you're sharing your name and photo. You also have the edit right here, this pop-out menu that looks a little bit different with that blurred background. And then up here in the top right, you can see that we have this pop-out menu where you can change from messages, unknown senders, recently deleted, and all of that. But what's more important is if you go into a message or a group chat, we have multiple new features in here. Number one, if you tap on the plus, we now have polls. So you can now create a poll in a group chat to get everybody to vote. So let me give you an example. So if I say, what do you want to eat? And I have three options right here, pizza, Mexican, or steak, and I go ahead and send that, take a look at this. Now everybody gets the option to vote in that poll. And when you tap on it, it updates with this really cool animation. And you could also add a choice as well. So anybody in the group chat is able to add a choice if they don't like one of the choices that you have in there. And if you want to unvote something, if you don't want to, have that vote, you can just tap on it to revoke it. And you might notice how this whole UI looks a little bit different as well. So again, this goes with the redesign, but even right here where it shows 3 people updated contact information, take a look at that, how it's more circular now. And then up top where it shows 4 people, it's kind of like bulging out. It just looks more immersive than it did before. And that includes the FaceTime icon over here as well. It has a circle around it. And also, of course, the messages, when you go to type that in, it's more translucent now, including the plus over there, which is also a little bit larger. But that's not the only thing, because we also have something pretty major inside of messages. And if we go into right here, if we tap to see everybody in the group, you have automatically translate. And when you select that, if you choose what to translate from, it will download that language from the dynamic island up here. And then it will start translating anything that's said in another language in real time right here within messages. You also get this pop-up menu down here to view both the Spanish and English versions, or if you want everything to just be converted to English only, you can choose that right there. And you also have the option to stop the translation at any time as well. But it gets even better, because if you go back into this section up here to see everybody in the group chat, we have a new section here called backgrounds. Not to mention, this is all categorized better now, by the way. So everything is kind of in this own scrolling section instead of having to, just show photos and links separately. It's all in the scrollable window for everything in the group chat, which is really nice. But right here we have backgrounds. So you can actually set a background for the group chat. So you can either do a custom photo, and you have these presets here, which I'll just do Aurora, for example, and it shows you a style. You can change different styles like this. So we'll go with the purple one. We go ahead and tap on the check mark up in the top right and go back. You can see what that looks like. That is what the background of the group chat looks like. Pretty awesome. If you go back into there and go to backgrounds, you also have image playgrounds. You can describe what you want to create in terms of text. You can just use text to describe an image, and it will create that for you using AI. You do also have some suggestions down here as well. Oh, and we also finally get typing indicators in group chats. So if you have a person or multiple people typing, it will now show an indicator with their face indicating that they are typing in the group chats. And if you're somebody who collects money from others in a group chat, you can now send and receive Apple Cash payments in a group chat. And speaking of live translation and the Messages application, we also have live translation in music. So if you go to a song in another language, it will translate that in real time for you right here in the lyrics section. And this also applies to phone calls. So if you get a phone call and somebody is speaking in another language, it will automatically show you a translation of what that person is is saying, whether that's a phone call or a FaceTime call. And you'll also notice throughout iOS 26 that we have this floating tab bar, whether that be in the music application to show this, you can see the little animation when that pops out, or search. So like in settings, for example, you can see that the search bar kind of lives down at the bottom now. It's kind of floating right there. And that's the same throughout every application. You saw that in messages as well, how we have the search down there at the bottom. Same with Safari. You can see this bar down here at the bottom is floating. Now here's another standout feature, and that is the camera application. So the camera application redesign starts with the app icon, which looks amazing. It looks like a throwback to a previous iOS camera app icon, but just take a look at that app icon. And when you open it up, we have a pretty big change in here as well. So starting off at the bottom, you can see it's very simple now. It just says video or photo. And if you tap on one of them, it does expand so you can see other modes. And take a look at that animation when you scroll through there. It is beautiful, and you can see it's pretty specific when you scroll. So that is what that looks like. Also right here, we have the 0.5x through 5x down there at the bottom. If we tap on the JPEG up top, it opens up this really cool menu right here where you can change the format and resolution. It's a lot more obvious now what it is versus before. Also, if you tap on these little grid icons up there, we get this new menu down here at the bottom. And if you take a photo, of course, it will go down here to the photos, which now has a circular shape to them. And if you open that up, it will take you to the Photos application. We'll talk about that in a moment. But inside the settings for camera, we do have a new feature called lens cleaning hints. So if your camera lens is a bit dirty, it will now tell you, it will give you a notification saying you might want to clean your lens. So I really tried getting mine dirty and it would not give me that suggestion, but that is something new here in iOS 26. Also, it's really nice because when you go to the video tab and you take a look up top in the top left, it shows you all of the details about what you're shooting in. So it shows the format, resolution, and frame rates, but the way it has it laid out right there is just really nice. It's a lot more informative and simple to read versus before. Okay, so now it's about time to talk about the Photos application, because iOS 18 made a pretty drastic change to the Photos app, and it's also changing quite a bit here in iOS 26 as well. So right when you open it up, you will see that it just prompts you with collections. So you do have the library over here as well, which shows you your recent photos and videos. It will show them all right there in one spot, which is nice to have a separate tab. And now we have another tab for the collections, which is where it shows all those pages. So these two used to be combined in iOS 18. It was just one big long page. Now it's separated. So I think this is going to make a lot of people happy, since it's now, you can see all your recents in just one section. You don't have to get confused with all the different collections. But now right here in collections, we do have a new look as well. So you do have the three dots up here where you can show all, collapse all, reorder. You can also change the view of this grid. So if I change it to this right here, it makes them bigger. This will make them smaller. And then this is the default. You can also collapse all of them, which will collapse everything. And you can choose, what you want to view right there. Or of course you do have the reorder. Now, speaking of photos, we also have a change to the screenshot UI. So if I go ahead and take a screenshot here, you'll notice that we have a new animation when it takes the screenshot. And if we go into that, you'll notice a change here as well. So first off, all of the UI elements up top have a new design. So the check mark, the X, these right here have a new design. We also now have at the bottom, ask and image search. So the visual intelligence feature is basically built in now when we go to take a screenshot. Now, of course, you can see that we do also have a new UI for the edges of the screenshot. It shows like that rounded off look. Now from here, we can highlight things to search. So basically circle to search like we have on Android, you can now do that on iOS. If you circle something in a photo, it will search on Google for that image. So it will show the results from Google right here. So you can see it's pretty accurate for what I gave it. And then also down here, you can ask ChatGPT. So if you want to ask ChatGPT something further about what's on the image, you can do that. By the way, if you do highlight to search something, it will not save that screenshot. Now the music application also got a redesign with iOS 26. And this one I think is pretty awesome. So first off, you can see at the bottom how we have the home and the search right there, along with our now playing little tab bar. If we tap on home, this opens up the menu that we all know, where it shows new, radio, library, and so on. Now you'll also notice in the library section, I now have pinned albums. And that's because now if you go to an album or a playlist and you haptic press on that, you now get the option, first off, this whole menu here is new. You now get the option to pin that playlist, and it will now show up top. And if you go into the playlist section, for example, and you go to the three dots up here, take a look at this. You could also now create a folder. So if you have folders, or if you have playlists rather, that are perfect for parties, you can create a parties playlist and add certain playlists into that parties folder. Also in the music application, there's a feature that works a lot better than I expected, and that is audio mix. So this uses AI and just machine learning in general to smartly transition into the next song. So it knows when is the best time to kind of end this current song and when the next song starts to actually get like a beat going and things like that. So basically like a better version of crossfade, you can now have it automated with audio mix. So once this gets close to the end of the song, take a look not only at this transition, it will say mixing down here, but take a look at the artwork transition as well. It kind of fades out from the old song into the new song's album artwork. So it says mixing down there. Now take a look at the transition right here. Very cool. Now we also have a really nice change to the AirPods with iOS 26, a few changes actually. So first off, if you go into your AirPods settings and then you go all the way down to the bottom, we now have a section for AirPods beta updates. If you go into there, you can now toggle on to receive AirPods beta updates along with the analytics data. And then also if you go into your settings and go to general and then into AirPlay and continuity, we have a brand new feature here called keep audio in headphones. So it says when using AirPods or other connected headphones, you can now keep the audio in your headphones when other playback devices like cars and speakers connect to the iPhone. That is a small but a very noteworthy change. So now if you get in a car, with your AirPods, for example, I'm not sure why you would do that, but if your phone connects to Bluetooth on the car, the music will stay in your headphones. And speaking of sound, if you go into your settings and sounds and haptics and then scroll down near the bottom, we have a brand new feature called late night mode. Now this seems to be related to the built-in speaker. I did turn this on and off and I tried to tell the difference, but I was not able to tell a big difference from the music that I was playing. But there's a new late night mode now in iOS 26. Now here's a standout feature that I was really hoping I would cover in this video. If you go into settings and into battery, we now have essentially battery intelligence up at the top. So it shows our current battery percentage, it shows our last charge to percentage, and it shows how long ago that was. Now, if I plug my phone in, well, charging is on hold because my phone is too hot. That's the struggle of installing a beta 1. There we go. It cooled down a little bit so you can see up top and now shows how long until we reach 80% and also how long until we reach 90%, which is what I have my charge level set to. If you have it set to 100%, it would show 100% down there, but now it shows the amount of time remaining until we hit those certain thresholds. And yes, you will also see this on the lock screen. So you'll notice up top right here, it will show how long until you get to a certain percentage. I expected this to be at the bottom, but it is up top and it will show how long until you reach the next threshold, which in my case is 80%. So it shows 18 minutes until I get to 80% battery. Now, if we scroll down here, we have another change because if we go down to power mode, we now have a new mode called adaptive power. So it says, when your battery usage is higher than usual, iPhone can make small performance adjustments to extend your battery life, including slightly lowering the display brightness or allowing some activities to take a little longer. Low power mode may turn on at 20%. Now here's a standout feature that really should not be a standout feature, but it is because iOS 18 was not great with this, but search in settings is now finally good again. So if you search for music, for example, it will start populating in real time as you type and it will give you really good results. So I've noticed that pretty much everything I search for now works perfectly as I'm searching for it and I get all the results that you would expect from iOS. Now we also have a couple of new applications with iOS 26, starting off with previews. You can see the app icon right there. This is the preview application that we have on macOS. It's now made its way over to iOS. If I load in something right here, so we just load this in, you can see you get all of your options down there for annotating, autofill. You see all of this right here. Really cool. It's a lot better than using, just the notes application or files. This is much better to have the preview application for that. And then the other application is the games application. So we now have a dedicated gaming application with iOS 26 with some really cool features. So if we go into here, you'll see at the bottom, we have our floating tab bar once again, like we see throughout iOS 26. We have home, arcade, play together, and library. So you have all your games right here in the library, all the games you have. You can see events and updates. You have achievements as well. If you go to play together, it will show you the players. You can set challenges and things like that. You have all your Apple Arcade games, and of course you have your home and your search right here. And then finally, here's a great productivity one. You can now use the action button to create a reminder. So it pops up right here, and you can just quickly jot down your reminder and add it to your to-do list, which is awesome. If you go into your settings and go to controls and then tap right here and search for reminders, you will see it right there. So those are some of these standout features in iOS 26. Again, there are going to be several additional features and changes, which I will be covering here on the channel. So make sure you are subscribed and stay tuned for those videos. But those are some of the standouts that I've noticed just within my first hour of playing with iOS 26. So expect a lot more coverage soon. Also, let me know down in the comment below, are you a fan of this redesign? Are you not a fan of the redesign? Let me know all your thoughts down there in the comments below. Also, be sure to give this video a thumbs up if you did enjoy it. Also, shout out to the live stream squad if you were in the live stream today. I appreciate you. But anyways, guys, thanks for watching, and I'll see you soon.